Hi everybody, this is Christy with Pack Tax and Kennedy with Pack Tax. Thank you for watching this video. You already get brownie points. We wanted to just give you a few of the updates that there are for this upcoming tax season so that you are ready. It is wild. Well, everything's wild, right? Since COVID and the pandemic, there have just been so many changes that have been thrown at taxes so rapidly that we're trying to keep up, and we're gonna try to keep you as informed as possible. We are filming this the last week of December. Things could change by the time we see you in the spring. So things change, we'll give more, but as of right now, as of the end of the year, this is what we know about the updates and how you should prepare and the things you should gather. We do have our client letters are going out in the next couple of weeks, so you should all be receiving in the mail your pretty orange envelope. Inside the orange envelope, there's gonna be a checklist to go through that's updated with the new stuff you need to look for, and an updated intake form that we want you to fill out. That really it's you going through your checklist and making sure you have all the stuff. And it's also updated with the new stuff. So if you'll please, I know it's a pain in the butt, but gosh, there's so much stuff now with taxes. It's not like, just bring your W-2s. Now there's like a billion things that really are not tax related that they've made you report on taxes, which is totally annoying. So please take some time, read through the checklist, read through that intake form. The intake form's the orange one. Please bring that with you to your appointment with the rest of your documents. That will help us so much. As taxes grow more complicated, we've got to build in systems to make sure that we are covering absolutely everything. Because again, it's not just your W-2s anymore. Now they want, 30 things from you. Did you bring all 30 things? So please look at those. Spoiler alert, in case you wonder what this video is about. Spoiler alert, this is not the year to do your own taxes. So stuff's just weird. And there's things that apply to this year and not last year and that won't apply next year. So this is a great year to get some help with your taxes. And if you have friends around you that are trying to do it on their own, or especially like parents, siblings, this is probably not the year to do it on your own. So we would love to help. And the number one concern that people have when they prepare their own taxes is doing it right. And that should be a concern this year. So please read through your stuff, and we really look forward to seeing you and remind you that you can call our office, text us, or schedule online. We are doing both in-person and virtual appointments this year. If you want a Zoom appointment, please call. You need to call for that to get on the schedule because we have to schedule it different. We prefer you to come in person if at all possible. Please come in person. You can see our screens. We can see what's going on. It's more efficient. Our error rate is way less if you're sitting right next to us and we're both looking at the screens. And I think you get a little more bang for your buck when you're there. So please come into the office if you can. If you can't, fine. We're happy to do it via Zoom, but call the office to make that appointment. Okay, so we're gonna jump right in to these tax updates. How fun. Okay, so the first big tax update has to do with the child tax credits. We've gotten already lots of phone calls. Poor Debbie at the front desk all year has gotten phone calls about this one. So especially with the advanced payments on the child tax credit. So if you have children who are under the age of 18, this involves you. If not, skip forward, I guess. So the amounts have been increased from 2020 to 2021. Because remember, we're about to file for 2021. So we're always like a year behind, right? So that's a little confusing. The amounts for the child tax credits have been increased. And it's been increased where it used to be only if you were 16 years old, now they can be up to 18 years old. So it's expanded who gets the child tax credits. But then what they did is in the summertime, they said, okay, we're gonna make this bigger, but now we're going to take half of the number that you should get and send it to you in an advanced payments. So you may have just gotten money deposited in your account or sent to you via check over this past fall. And you didn't have to go apply for it. You didn't have to go sign something. It just came to you. Jonathan, did yours just come? He's filming? Yep, they just came. Kennedy, well, yours is a new baby.
Not yet.
Oh,
Yep,
so
new
hers,
baby.
right. Kennedy, oh, by the way, congratulations. Kennedy had a baby since you've seen her last. We're so excited. For those of you who had a child, you didn't get those credits. What happens now? So all of this stuff is going to be balanced out on your tax return, right? So we're gonna look at, well, how much do you actually qualify for? How much did you get? And if you didn't get what you're supposed to get, then on the tax return, you're gonna get it. So Kennedy had a baby. She didn't get the child tax credits for that baby. Well, now when we file for her, the child tax credits from cute little baby Ray that was born in May will now come in for the rest of all that was missing, if that makes sense. There is a new form, that's what you love, new forms. Yes. There's a new form that's going to come to you. If you received the advanced child tax payments during the year, you will receive a form in the mail. It's called Form 6419. You should get it to your house. It will be mailed to the address where you filed your tax returns, what you listed for your tax returns. If you're married, there should be 2 letters. You should get one and your spouse should get one. So this is where it's gonna get a little crazy. So what you need to do is you need to get that letter, the 6419 that comes, you need to bring that to your tax appointment. If one doesn't come, which I hope it's not a nightmare, but it could be a nightmare, right? Like, is the government gonna do it right? Maybe. If you don't get that letter, then we may have to delay filing for you. But in the meantime, if you can go back and at least count up and find all of the deposits that you received in those advanced payments, that would be helpful. We are not supposed to file, however, without that letter. So please find the letter. If the letter's not coming, then at least go back and count up, well, how much have we already gotten of this credit so that we can know how to deal with it. And it's gonna get a little wild on a couple of things because we have a lot of families where, what if the parents aren't married anymore? And what if there's a kid that they switch on and off, like you claim them on odd years, you claim them on even years, and a parent for 2020 got the advanced child tax credits, but that parent in 2021 isn't claiming that kid, right? This is where things just get wild. So have the letters. You want to know as much information as possible. Right now, there's really good news in that situation. The good news right now is that if the one parent got it, but now they're not claiming the kid, that parent doesn't have to pay it back. So, and the other parent's still gonna get it on their tax return. I mean, it's gonna be crazy. So we hope that stays. Basically, it means it's okay if the money went to your spouse and now you're claiming the kid, your ex-spouse. No one's gonna have to go repay. It could change, but right now it's good news for everybody. So don't stress too much about all of that. Find your letter. You need to find the letter. You need to bring that in. Here's also the tricky part. If your income for 2021, when we go to file for you, is over $150,000, you don't qualify for those extra credits. And you're going to have to, you could have to repay. So for some people, it could be a little bit ugly. Like I said, it's just gonna be a little bit wild, but we will know everything. We will know how to deal with it, how to handle it. Please find your letter and bring that one in. Just knowing that it's gonna be a little bit goofy, especially with split kids, but we'll be able to walk you through. And always, if there's a situation where those kids are split with a divorce situation, we'd love to be able to talk to both parties. Not that we even have to file for your ex-spouse, but man, it's nice to have some communication so that we can work together and make sure everything matches, just so that neither of you gets harassed by the IRS later because something wasn't done right. So if people are amicable enough to at least have a conversation, great. We do that all the time, just so that it saves you hassle down the road. So there's that one. The next one also is, child tax credits, that's a big one. The daycare credit. So also you with children who are not yet in kindergarten, who are in daycare or in preschool accounts, or children who are still school aged but have like after school programs that you have to pay for daycare. So daycare expenses, this credit has been hugely improved. Only for this year, maybe it'll change forever, but right now it's only for this year, but they're going to allow you to claim a whole lot more in daycare expenses than they did before. So maybe sometimes last year, if I can't remember my information, it wasn't that much, we didn't worry too much about it. Well, now it could be a whole lot of money. So if you are paying someone for daycare, we want the information. We want to know how much did you pay them. We also need the information of who you paid. What's their business name? What's their federal ID number? Or if it was a person, what's their name and their social? Because the credits now are big enough that even if you didn't claim it in the past, you might want to claim it now. So keep that in mind.
Okay, so one of the next big changes is related to stimulus. And if you remember way back early 2020, everyone should have received a third stimulus payment. Should have been $1,400 per person. This is the year that we're reporting that $1,400. So last year on your taxes, you reported the first 2 stimulus payments. This year, we're reporting the third $1,400. Please check to see if you received this payment. We've had lots of issues with letters saying you did or didn't receive it because people weren't sure if they did. So please track that information down if you did or didn't receive the stimulus payment, because it goes on this year's.
Yeah. And it kind of was a nightmare last tax season because a lot of times people didn't know. Did I get it? I didn't get it. Well, we have to guess. Well, guess what? The IRS knows. So anyone that guessed wrong, no one's going to jail. It's not that. It's just that a series of letters came and you had to address the letter and it was this big to do. If you can just find out, did you get that $1,400 stimulus? It would have been for everyone. All dependents and your spouse, everybody was eligible for the $1,400. So find that out. They should send a letter. The IRS should send a letter telling you how much, but we hope it comes. If it doesn't come, please do that.
Next thing is unemployment. If you remember last year, a portion of that was non-taxable for certain parties. That is gone for 2021. It's back to normal. All unemployment is taxable for 2021.
So I think that's gonna jam, that is gonna jam some people that maybe you chose to have no withholdings on your unemployment, hoping that there would be an exclusion like there was in 2020. There's not, so just kind of be prepared. All unemployment is gonna be taxable. Yeah. Similarly, if you have health insurance through the government marketplace, 2020 had an exception that if you did it wrong, you didn't have to repay any of the subsidy. That's gone, and now we're back to just normal, which means if you did your health insurance through the marketplace wrong and you received too much of a subsidy, you do have to repay it on your taxes. So that's another thing that can jam some people, so just be aware that they gave a nice cushy thing during 2020 just for COVID. They did not extend it. We're gonna have to deal with the health insurance stuff.
Okay, so as far as retirement distributions, RMDs are also back to normal. In 2020, you didn't have to take the RMD if you didn't want to. However, for 2021, that is gone. If you have to take an RMD, you have to take it for 2021. There's no way around that. As far as 2020 distributions, if you chose to split those over 3 years, that was an option last year to split the taxable income amount for the next 3 years. Just be aware, if you chose that, it will be taxable this year and the next year as well.
So it's gonna follow you. So
can't get rid of it.
We talked about last year, but again, weird things from COVID that are just they're still impacting you. Charitable deductions, very similar to last year. A lot of people don't have enough itemized deductions to itemize. Even so, the IRS is allowing you to claim a little bit of money charitable donations, even if you're not itemizing. So even if you're taking the short form and you usually don't claim them, now you'll be able to claim up to $600 in money donations, $300 per person. So if you're filing joint, it's $600. That's up from what it was last year. So even if you don't normally itemize and think, I don't have to worry about that, you do about charitable donations, because the $600 donation, it's not a whole lot, but that can still shave a couple $100 off your tax return. So count up, we're asking everybody, just list how much you did in charitable donations, whether you're gonna itemize or not. That way we can just know, do you qualify for this rule that's just an exception for this year, that's different than kind of normal.
Yeah, as far as the earned income credit goes, that has changed also this year. Now, more people qualify, even if you don't necessarily have kids, you may qualify for the earned income credit, which can be a good thing, helpful for more people than it has been in the past.
And this will impact some people who in the past maybe didn't file a tax return because their income wasn't high enough and they didn't have any kids. Well, now, if your income's not high enough and you don't have any kids, you might still qualify to get money back more than what you paid in. So again, this is a good year probably for everybody to look at filing a tax return when normally people wouldn't have to. Now there might really be some benefit. And that's another thing, we see a lot of clients every year, and if you're not sure whether or not you need to file, we are very happy to look at your stuff and tell you if you need to file or not. If you don't need to file, we don't charge you. It's fine. We will tell you. So if there's any question about whether you should file or a kid should file or your mom should file who just has Social Security or something, please let us know. We're happy to answer those questions. That way you just know, because tax stuff is changing every single year. It's not like we can just say, these are the cutoffs for filing. It's different now, and it's different every year. So I recommend at least chime in, even if you know those people that don't know if they normally file or they need to file. Let us look at it. We'll let them know, and if they don't need to file, we're not going to charge them anything, and then they'll at least know that they're not doing it.
And sometimes it's good news. You end up getting
Yeah.
money back.
Yeah, because in these situations, well, maybe you don't have to file, but we could file for you and get you money back. Let's do that, right?
Let's try it. Yeah.
That sounds good. Okay, so we're switching demographics from retirement to maybe a different demographic here, virtual currency. So all of you crypto people, Dogecoin people, all the made up people, swampy, there's so many things. Okay, so the whole virtual currency industry is getting more regulated. Those regulations aren't coming until 2022. So it's great news, and it's gonna make people's lives simpler in the end. But right now, if you sell Bitcoin, you have virtual currency transactions, that company isn't required to provide you with a 1099 that reports those transactions, but you are still required to report them. So that's really hard sometimes because the information may not be readily available. Again, this is gonna be regulated starting next year, so that'll be helpful. You'll at least know what you're supposed to report. But for 2021, you've got to come up with the information yourself. There are some brokerages are already doing it, like Robinhood's already providing a 1099, but a lot aren't. So if you don't have one, you have to come up with those numbers. You have to know how much did you sell, and of what you sold, you have to know what your cost basis was. If you didn't sell virtual currency and you just bought virtual currency, don't worry about it. You don't need to do anything. But if you sold any virtual currency during the year, you need to know how much you sold. You need to know what the basis is, which means how much did you buy it for. And it can be super complicated, especially if you're doing like microtransactions and it's like pages of things that keep churning. So if you do have a ton of transactions with virtual currency, I recommend using an online tool. There's some really great ones out there like CoinTracker or Zen Ledger. I'm assuming that if you're super into all this, you might know what I'm talking about, just to help you come up with the sale price and the cost basis, because the IRS is getting serious on it, and where they kind of haven't gotten too involved in people's stuff yet because they don't know what to do with it, they started this year. They sent out a test group of like 10,000 letters auditing people based on their virtual currency and found out that like 95% of them hadn't reported it. And I mean, so that's coming. The IRS is going to get a whole lot more aggressive with this. So now's a good time to learn how to calculate what did you sell and what did you buy it for, so we can get that reported. Okay, those are the big ones. Those are the big changes that are updates. But just to remind you, things that you need to do, you need to go through your checklist. You need to fill out your intake form. Come to your appointment. That would be useful.
That's crucial.
And if you don't, for some reason you moved or whatever, if we goofed and you don't get something in the mail from us, you can go to our website. We have the intake form. The checklist is all right there, or you can call our office. We'll send you one. We want you to really just be as detailed as possible going through this stuff, because there just is a lot this year. And if in doubt, we always say, if you're not sure you should bring something, just bring it. We can tell you real quick if you didn't need that or not. So bring all your things, fill out your check, fill out your intake form, that'll tell you what you need to do. And just go online and getting scheduled. We do anticipate being really busy this year, especially because the weirder things get, the more people need help. You'll all be happy to know that we have not increased our prices, so we're trying to hold here as long as we can. So we're keeping our prices exact same as they were last year. We do charge by form though. So if there are new forms that you need to file or different stuff going on, then your price, our price charging you can go up or down. But the price per form and the base price for PAC tax is exactly the same this year as last. So don't be alarmed there. We're not gonna totally hose you just because the government's getting crazy. You really do need to get some help with this stuff. Gosh, I think that's about it. So you can call our office, you can schedule online, you can text our office to book. The easiest way is to schedule online. If you're savvy and can do that, great. But also a reminder, if you need a Zoom appointment, you need to call our office, because we need more from you. Like, we've got to get your documents at least a week in advance to prepare for that appointment if you're not sitting there with us. So happy to help you that way, but just please make sure you call the office if that's the case. And as we find out more and more updates, we're going to post some more videos too, so hopefully we can answer some questions as just more weird things come up. But
it's going to be a good year.
It's going to be a good year. We're just excited, and we are so grateful for you as clients, and we appreciate you coming. We appreciate your referrals. We appreciate your patience with all this weird stuff as we're learning it too. The government's learning it too. I mean, it's a terrible process that they have, and we're all learning it very last minute. But we will help you through it. So thank you for trusting us with your business, and we look forward to seeing you here in the spring.